Greetings Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. Great to have everybody here. Hello, Maverick family. Ukraine didn't waste any time. The first ATACMS missiles have been fired into Russia, escalating. I don't know. Is that escalation? Defense? Depends on your point of view. Certainly, it has a lot of people worrying. We have Justin Trudeau at the G20. We have Vladimir Zelensky addressing the European Union. We have that latest Trudeau government scandal. The topic of discussion again today in the House of Commons. And we have Dr. Oz joining the Trump administration. All that and more coming up right here after this.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching. The world is watching. On TV.
The entire world is watching.
On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
Okay, the 1,000th day of the war in Ukraine, and Ukraine has now launched U.S. supplied ATACMS missiles against targets inside Russia. Here's the video. So, Russia's defense ministry says Ukraine launched 6 U.S.-made ATACMS targeting southwestern Bryansk region. All this happening overnight. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky did not directly confirm the Bryansk attack. However, he has said that, in his words, quote, "We now have ATACMS, Ukrainian long-range capabilities, and we will use them." Moscow is saying it will respond accordingly. Sergei Lavrov, Russia's foreign minister in Rio de Janeiro for the G20 summit, says the Ukrainian use of ATACMS is a clear signal that the West wants to escalate the conflict. He says that without the Americans, it's impossible to use the high-tech missiles, which is something that Vladimir Putin has been saying repeatedly as well. Putin says that Russia will respond, as I say, accordingly, And what does that mean? Well, we know that Russia has now updated its, I guess, nuclear doctrine, saying that Russia will now be able to attack or respond to and attack any country that is, I think they can use nuclear weapons against any nuclear power that is assisting a non-nuclear power to attack Russia. So Russia is claiming that 5 of the missiles were shot down and another has been damaged. It says debris from the rockets caused a fire at an unnamed military facility. The reports of these ATACMS strikes came just hours after Vladimir Putin signed this revised nuclear doctrine, lowering the threshold for using nuclear weapons. The Kremlin has intensified its rhetoric over Joe Biden's decision to allow Kyiv to use these long-range missiles for strikes inside Russia. So the revised nuclear doctrine again declares that a conventional attack on Russia by any nation that is supported by a nuclear power will be considered a joint attack on Russia. And the doctrine outlines the conditions which Russia's leadership might consider launching a nuclear strike under, and also states that an attack using conventional missiles, drones, or other aircraft could be seen as justification for a nuclear response. So as far as Russia is concerned, they don't have to be attacked with nuclear weapons if they're being attacked with conventional weapons alone. In their mind, according to their new revised doctrine, that would be justification enough to launch nuclear weapons. Russia, I guess, has been planning to update their nuclear doctrine for months, and the timing of Putin's signature on this is seen as a reaction to Biden's decision to allow Ukraine to conduct these strikes, which really are limited to a 190-mile range inside Russia. In addition to that, this I guess most analysts are seeing this as not a game changer per se for Ukraine. It will, however, put more pressure on Russia. It will take the fight to Russia in an offensive way. The old saying, the best defense is a good offense, is I think what is playing out here. A defensive move insofar as they're targeting installations, military targets where attacks on Ukraine are being launched from. But will it be a game changer? Not necessarily. What it will really do is really force the Russians to push them back. They'll have to probably move some of those military assets a little further back into Russia on the other side of that 190-mile line in order to fully protect them. How they will respond remains to be seen. Will they move those assets? Will they strike back? I think that it's fair to say that Russia will very likely strike back in a pretty substantial way. Now, all this happening, as I say, against the backdrop of this 1,000th day of this war that, according to Putin in the beginning, was supposed to be over within literally days. They were projecting 3, maybe 5 days, and even when you go back and you look at the pro-Russian pundits who were analyzing all of this and making comments at the time through mainstream Russian media, some mainstream Western media, and social media, they were echoing that, saying that this thing would be over within a matter of days. Ukraine didn't stand a chance, and here we are 1,000 days in. And Volodymyr Zelensky also at this time, within the last 24 hours, addressing the European Union. We have his comments here, and I am going to run them. Some of you may appreciate it, some of you may not, but it is news, and we're going to run it. And the reason being is it is news. The other reason is we've also given more than ample time to Vladimir Putin and Joe Biden and other world leaders with regard to this issue, this war in Ukraine. So here's Vladimir Zelensky at the European Union. We'll run a little bit of this, and we have these other stories to get into tonight, but this is an issue that really affects the whole world because we are engaged in World War III, and it's pretty clear that we are facing a situation that could kinetically escalate substantially very, very quickly now.
And now I give to you, dear President, dear Volodymyr, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, dear Roberta, Madam President, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, our friends of Ukraine. I thank you for supporting Ukraine. Thank you, Roberta, for calling this extraordinary session of the European Parliament to mark 1,000 days of full-scale war. Thank you for ensuring that not a single one of the 1,000 days of this terrible war became a day of betrayal of our shared European values. We've proven that these values are not just words, not something abstract. European values and the European way of life, when transformed into action, protect the lives of real people. Thank you so much.
Hello. Hey, Todd.
One moment. Here we go.
All of Europe and our partners in America and around the world, we have succeeded not only in preventing Putin from taking Ukraine, but also in defending the freedom of all European nations. Even with North Korea's Kim Jong-un, but by his side, Putin remains smaller than the united strength of Europe. I urge you not to forget this, and do not forget how much Europe is capable of achieving. And if we could stop Europe's way of life from falling, then we can surely push Russia towards a just peace. Peace is what we desire most. 2 years ago, we proposed the peace formula, and I'm grateful to all of Europe and every partner who has supported it. And you in the European Parliament were among the first to support the peace formula. And the only one who opposes it is the one who started this war. It's Russia. And we must push Russia toward just peace. Every blow and every threat from Russia must be met with firm sanctions. For 1,000 days, it has been crucial to radically reduce Russia's ability to fund its war through oil sales. Oil is the lifeblood of Putin's regime, and the shadow fleet of tankers is what keeps it alive. As long as these tankers operate, Putin continues to kill. Strong sanctions are essential. I thank each of you, thank you, Roberta, again, and thank each of you who supports our people, our resilience, our ability to restore safety even after the most devastating mass attacks by Russia. Together we have accomplished much, but we must not fear doing even more. Now, Putin has brought 11,000 North Korean troops to Ukraine's borders. This contingent may grow to 100,000. While some European leaders think about, some elections or something like this at Ukraine's expense, Putin is focused on winning this war. He will not stop on his own. The more time he has, the worse the conditions become. Every today is the best moment to push Russia harder, and it's clear without certain key factors, Russia will lack real motivation to engage in meaningful negotiations. Without fires in its ammunition depots on Russian territory, without disrupted military logistics, without destroyed Russian air bases, without its lost capabilities to produce missiles and drones, and without its assets being confiscated. You know very well that Putin does not value people or rules. He values only money and power. These are the things we must take away from him to restore peace. If anyone in Europe thinks they can sell Moscow, Ukraine, or any other country like the Baltic states or the Balkans, Georgia, Moldova, and gain something in return, let them remember this simple truth. No one can enjoy calm waters amid a storm. And we must do everything to end this war fairly and justly, as you said, Roberta. And of course, together. 1,000 days of war is a tremendous challenge. Ukraine deserves to make the next year the year of peace. Thank you again. Thank you so much. Thank you for your resolutions, your decisions, your principles, your visits to Ukraine during the war, during first year of the war, especially first year when it was so difficult. And thanks and your faith in Ukraine. Thank you very much. Slava Ukraini. We'll be right back.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
So yeah, we're definitely in the thick of things now, and we have been for a while. Most people are just not aware. The vast majority. And you know, Russia is engaging in all kinds of activities that I would say are related to fifth generation warfare against the West. We are seeing tonight that we're getting reports that undersea cables are being cut in Europe. It is not exactly clear by whom, but you can begin to start to put two and two together. In addition to all of that, there was that recent story where explosives were intercepted, and they were going to be, it looked like they were going to be loaded onto a DHL flight. That was from a couple of weeks ago. So there's a lot going on that isn't even really getting much, if any, media attention as well. So heads up, everybody, because I think the ride's going to get rockier. And the conflict in Ukraine, I would say, definitely tied in with what's going on in Gaza. It's all tied together, directly and indirectly. Here today, we see that anti-Israel protesters went into the Senate building in Washington, D.C., and it looks like arrests were made there. Let's roll the footage. I'm just going to check the chat because last night, I know that some people were trying to alert me. I really didn't want to look in the chat last night. Sometimes I just don't want to because I know that some people won't like what's being said. And that's fine. But I know that some people were trying to alert me to a pro-Palestinian protest outside Ottawa Police Service headquarters. And that was quite the spectacle. I guess it was the result of a protest earlier where 4 pro-Palestinian protesters were arrested. That sparked a new protest outside police headquarters where there were demands that the prisoners be released. They wanted their comrades released. Things got pretty heated at times. And, well, here, couple of things I want to show you from last night. First up, okay, so here's Chris Dacey and Right Blend, 2 independent live streamers. Were out there last night, as I'm sure many of you know, because I'm sure that many of you follow them. But they captured a lot of this on video, live. This was the scene. This was the scene last night. This is Chris Dacey. Here we go.
What's your name? And Daisy also. I'm backed up. I'm backed up. I don't need to back up any further. Why?
You're here causing disturbance. Back up, please. There we go.
She caused the disturbance. She just pushed my friend down and I got it on camera. So now you're going to say me. How far? How far? How far? How far? I'm away from the crowd. There's all of you guys now. There's all you guys now. All you guys now.
There you go. We are. We are.
I'm not. They're surrounding me now. I'm not moving back.
Let the crowd go by then.
I'm back. Don't phone me anymore.
Okay. We are way back now.
We are way back. You have a name? Your policy is to give name and number.
There you go. Okay.
Your policy is to give your name.
And you let them get away with murder.
No.
Okay, well, they just pushed her there. Like, come on. We're on the sidewalk now. Like, we're on the sidewalk now.
Okay, let's keep them here for now.
Like, isn't that better to let the mob go?
Your name?
Holy crap. This is craziness.
Okay, don't engage, please. Let's go.
Unlock.
How about we get you guys to watch that corner over there, okay?
Well, that's not safe for us, man. That is not safe.
We can walk you guys down there.
And what? And this guy pushing, dude. We'll walk, but like we're getting. What is the better plan here, guys? If they go, then the problem's solved, right? You push us, man. You push us here. You push us there. Fuck's sakes, man.
I have you on camera walking towards me.
Yeah, man. Like you got one set of goons pushing her off the sidewalk, one pushing her on, a mob surrounding her. This all started with you guys pushing her around earlier tonight.
Why are you pushing me?
Shit. Well, one of you did earlier.
Oh, yeah, I had pushed. You pushed me back. Liar. You're gonna lie to me?
What's she doing? She's standing surrounded by fucking riot police.
That's a complaint.
Shit, man. Craziness around here.
You can't make me move on the sidewalk. And that is public property. The police station is owned by the people. The policy isn't to make me move off public property. No, I'm not going to listen to anybody.
Well, man, you didn't move the mob off the sidewalk.
Policy doesn't trump my right on public property. It's public.
Like shit. She's not the problem, guys. Let's just be serious there. Like, can we all not agree that she was not the problem?
You cannot do it.
She might be a problem to you right now, but like
shit. Online, and I was asking them to say it to my face.
How many times is it?
Because I'm not a fucking
I mean, she's been assaulted numerous times by these mobs.
Good for you. Shame on you. You're a coward. Get the fuck away from me. Like, literally get the fuck away from me.
Well, there's nowhere to go, right? We're surrounded by these goons, or these goons, or these goons,
You're all
whatever.
getting a fucking complaint. Get the terrorists off my streets! He's okay, but I'm not? But you didn't tell him to, but you told me to.
Oh my God, really?
That is part of the sidewalk.
That's just, you gotta just flex right now, right? Like, come on, man.
You're pulling, yeah.
If you just moved, we could go over there and be gone out of this problem.
Okay, so conflict there. This is a different angle. A little bit wider, and I think it just gives you, I think this will give you a little more sense of what the crowd was about. As they carry a flag of Che Guevara, of course. The left, the right, the extreme left, the extreme right, I don't know, kind of blends together. Speaking of blend, here's Right Blend, who is one of the Wellington Street regulars, and quite often out there with Chris Dacey. He was out there as well. And this is a wider angle from the Right Blend feed.
Oh, it's a surrounding area.
It is.
Jail support.
Oh, that's why it's so quiet.
Well, didn't you see it in the middle?
Keeping in mind again that they're there, these demonstrators are there to demand the release of the 4 pro-Palestinian protesters who were arrested.
I think that's
which
called criminal mischief.
That's got to be one of the first times, if not the first
they'll be answered
time,
by the police.
police in Ottawa
Police
have
always
responded
answer.
in that way by actually
We're here
arresting
outside
any
of the Ottawa
protesters
Police
involved in a
headquarters where there is a
pro-Palestinian
quote, jail support
protest
rally.
from the
Demonstrators are
pro-Palestine
demanding
side.
the release of their comrades who were arrested earlier today by Ottawa Police public order units. This is 161? No, that's the courthouse. This is some other address. Hey, how you doing? It's Shorty. Yeah, she's here.
So that gives you a sense of what was going on there last night. And before I get into what police released, I wanted to bring your attention to this. This is a clip of a person who has been protesting with the pro-Palestinian protesters to support them. But because of their behavior last night, this gentleman has changed his views and was not happy with what he saw going on and went over to tell the protesters exactly how he feels about what their conduct was like last night. And these protesters who were arrested yesterday were in court today for an arraignment. I'll get into the conditions now. I will get into the conditions that they're facing as a result of their release. But before we do that, let me run this. Not that clip. I want to show you this exchange with this gentleman who, as I say, was a pro-Palestine supporter until what he witnessed last night. Here it is. And again, credit for this to Chris Dacey, who is out there regularly shooting stuff on the streets of Ottawa.
No threats. Be peaceful. Please be peaceful. I've supported you people, but now you're threatening us. It's not acceptable to threaten us. Listen to what she said. I'm speaking to this gentleman. This gentleman and I are trying to speak, and we're being interrupted. That's what's happening.
And then the handlers come in.
I would like to speak. As you know, I've supported you. I support the right of anybody to fight for what they believe in if they do so peacefully. But to threaten Canadians is not peaceful.
Are you done? Can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you speaking to me or whatever?
I'm speaking to you.
Okay, so lower your voice so we can
I did lower. I'll try to keep it down.
Thank you. No one called for any jihad against Canadians or whatever you thought you heard. I can guarantee you.
You're calling the police KKK. You know what KKK means? Ku Klux Klan. That's racist white people in America who lynch Africans. I'm not talking to you. You know who the Ku Klux Klan is? They're racist Americans who lynch black people. These police officers are protecting your right to peacefully protest. If they weren't here, a lot of Canadians would come in here and destroy you all. You're only doing this because the police are protecting you. Stop threatening us. I supported you people.
I know, that's why I always see you on the phone.
Yeah, but now you're threatening Canadians.
No one's threatening
Canadians. That's not true. I've heard lots of threats.
No one's threatening Canadians.
That's not true. That's just not true. You can get replays online.
You said your part. I'm telling you, no one's threatening Canadians.
Well, good. Let's keep it that way, please. Keep it peaceful. I support you if you keep it peaceful, but not if you threaten us. And don't call our police Ku Klux Klan. The Ku Klux Klan lynched black people in America. They are not lynching anybody. They are not lynching anybody.
I don't care that you're here and you're having good
I'm defending you. They're calling you the KKK. And I'm saying that's not true.
I'm just saying, I don't want, we're revved up tonight. Let's keep it calm, okay?
I understand. Thanks.
That should apply to everyone here, officer, I would say. Should apply to everyone here, not the one guy who feels... One guy feels threatened and he's defending you guys.
We're standing here.
Yeah, I get it, but like, I mean, yeah.
Doesn't apply to them.
He feels like there was threats being made, is what he was saying.
They were making threats.
There you go. I mean, they've made numerous threats.
I tried.
Yeah, it was all right.
I just don't want it to get more ramped up.
I understand.
That's all.
Okay, thank you, officer.
That's very much their choice. You know, it's their choice. And like you were standing up for police there, were you not? Like
standing up for the police, calling them the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, racist Americans in the South who lynched black people on trees for no reason, and this police force that they call racist lynchers of black people are defending them. And if the police weren't defending them, a lot of us would get in there and we'd be really pissed off.
Well, it does a disservice to if they do want to get a message across. If you just blanketly call everyone a racist or the wrong name.
That's like calling someone a Nazi. It's
exactly.
Just just as bad.
Yeah, well, thank you.
The KKK.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Chris.
Again, video from Chris Dacey. He gets right in there. Oh my goodness, yeah. See if I can get you the response from police now, because they did issue a statement. Now, also today, I know that those pro-Palestinian demonstrators, the ones who were arrested, they were released, and 3 of them were released with a $1,000 bond, and they were released with conditions. They are, and I totally understand this, one of the conditions is they are not to wear a mask in public without a medical reason. And if a police officer approaches them to ask why they are masking, they must provide proof of medical reason. Also, the people who were arrested are not to contact each other or communicate with each other, and they are not to attend, support, or organize in any way, online or offline, including on social media, any protest that would be related to the war in the Middle East. And there is one person who was arrested who is also prohibited from possessing weapons as part of the package of conditions attached to the releases. Other charges for the other three include mischief, obstruct police, and participating as a member in an unlawful assembly. So police issued a media release earlier today saying this: 4 people were arrested last evening during a pro-Palestine demonstration in the downtown core after they ignored directions from police and blocked a street. The demonstrators had gathered on Elgin Street at approximately 5 p.m. during rush hour and were advised by the police liaison team members multiple times that they would need to limit their demonstration to the sidewalk and not obstruct traffic. Demonstrators did not wish to comply with these requests. After a 20-minute delay, where the demonstrators took over a portion of the intersection of Elgin Street and Nepean Street, blocking the City of Ottawa parking garage, the demonstrators began the walking protest on the sidewalk of Laurier Avenue West. They then quickly turned north on Metcalfe Street and took over the street. Despite repeated orders from police and dialogue with PLT members at that location, the demonstrators remained and interactions between police and demonstrators began. 4 demonstrators were arrested and charged with several offenses. 1 person was charged with assaulting police, and 3 police were charged with both mischief and obstruction of a peace officer. The arrested individuals were taken to 474 Elgin Street, and demonstrators arrived at the building and continued to protest until approximately 11 p.m. There were also online calls for individuals to flood police phone lines with calls. OPS Communications Center then began receiving some frivolous calls on 911 and other non-urgent phone lines. All 4 charged individuals will appear in show cause court in the morning, and that is what I just referred to, and you already know that they were, as a result of those arraignments, released with conditions. So a little bit of a shift there, I would say, where police, generally speaking, have been pretty much hands-off with these demonstrations, allowing the demonstrators to do a lot of pretty much what they want to do, and allowing the demonstrators to engage in whatever activity they're engaging in without arrests. As I say, I think this has got to be, if not the first time, one of the first times arrests have been made in connection with a protest of this nature by Ottawa police. So a little bit of a shift in approach here overnight. And those court cases will wind their way through the courts, and we'll see how it all ends up. Stay with me. There's more ahead right after this.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so Justin Trudeau not in the House of Commons today because he's on a field trip. Yes, he's off to the G20 summit. And even there, we're looking at, we're looking at clashes, really, I think, over this whole, I think you're going to get clashes there between the players over what's going on in Gaza, but especially right now over what's going on in Ukraine. Indeed, support for Ukraine is going to be tested at the G20 summit, because this debate will center around the ceasefire aims of Brazil, which is the host nation, as well as China, against the leaders of the G7, which are, of course, the world's most powerful democratic nations. And this summit is happening as U.S. President Joe Biden authorized those ATACMS missiles to be used to strike military targets inside Russia. And this authorization comes, as you know, just one day after the Kremlin unleashed a barrage of cruise and ballistic missile attacks against Ukraine, targeting largely the power grid, but also hitting some civilian targets. I think at least a dozen people were killed in those attacks. And those attacks lasted several hours, and it forced Poland, which is a NATO member, to scramble its fighter jets as well. So, a lot of lines being blurred here, red lines even. And then in Rio de Janeiro, Justin Trudeau is being looked upon to take something of a leading role in advocating for Ukraine as Joe Biden prepares to step aside so that the new Trump administration can get to work. And Trudeau, of course, has been around nearly a decade now, so he's well known, but I don't know how well respected he is among G20 members. And the G20 is, I think at this point, a little bit dysfunctional, in particular because you have the war in Ukraine and you have a mix of countries in there, some of which are honestly in conflict with each other, if not at war, because we are, in my view, we are engaged in a third world war. It's just not an entirely conventional war. It's a war being fought using fifth generation warfare. As you know, a lot of it is information warfare. But here's Trudeau today at the G20 in Brazil. Here he is, Canada's Prime Minister.
So yeah, I'm worried about the U.S. Stepping back on the fight against climate change. But from a Canadian perspective, we have demonstrated and we have seen that fighting climate change can both help directly with affordability by putting more money in people's pockets with the Canada Carbon Rebate. It's creating tremendous opportunity for growth and investment. We've seen Canada was number 3 country in the world for foreign direct investment last year. A lot of it because of clean energy, a lot of it because of environmental leadership and responsibility. We have the number 1 EV battery supply chain in the world, according to Bloomberg. And these are things that we have done because we're harnessing the economic opportunities of climate change. And if the United States steps back on the kind of innovation and supports that, for example, we have in our tax credits on clean investment, on innovative energy solutions, then more investment will be coming into Canada. We're already number 1 in the G20 for per capita for foreign direct investment. We've seen foreign direct investment increase by 60% since 2015, largely because of our investments in fighting climate change that are attractive to companies around the world. If people look at the United States as not a place where it's interesting to innovate and fight climate change, people will automatically turn to Canada. And if Mr. Trump doesn't want to take on the opportunities associated with climate change, Canada will continue to.
The whole electric car thing isn't really going quite as the government had planned, though, and we've talked about that at length here. Even though the Canadian government, along with the U.S. government, even though these massive government investments have been made in retooling assembly facilities, building brand new electric vehicle battery manufacturing facilities, and a lot of this is still ongoing. Demand is still not where it needs to be in order to drive the market, and you're also getting downward pricing pressure. We've seen within the last year auto dealers writing that open letter to Joe Biden asking him to tap the brakes on the expansion of electric vehicle or the electrification of the auto industry. And there are concerns even in Oshawa, Ontario, about the future of the assembly facility there, which has been unstable for a number of years now. And they kind of shut it down, then brought it back. And now I'm not sure where things are going to end up, but I know there are concerns about the longevity of that plant as well, which has for many, many decades, really since the formation, the creation of the auto industry for Canada, that Oshawa assembly facility has been an integral part of the economy, both locally and even nationally for Canada. It has been a major economic driver, major employer, but GM facing real trouble there, along with Ford, the domestic producers, the domestic auto producers, who are now global, really, in scope. Every company is global in scope, and increasing competition from China, of course, which is exactly what Trump is addressing, or plans to address, as he prepares to bring in his administration. And then this was something that honestly I didn't think, I never saw this coming. I guess I should have. But Dr. Oz is joining the Trump administration. Oh, here it is right here. Let me show you. This is big news today. I laughed when Dr. Phil started showing up at these news events that Trump kept showing up at. I really laughed when Dr. Phil showed up at the border. Remember, that was back last summer? Went down to Texas, and Dr. Phil showed up, and they and there was a lot of unrest, right? And concerns even that there might lead to like some sort of a conflict between states over the border crisis, and Texas was sort of like a catalyst for all of that. And Dr. Phil showed up. I was laughing. I just thought it just felt so much like a staged reality TV segment. Well, now again, I can't help but feel like we're watching some sort of a movie, because here we are. Here's the NBC report on this. Look at this. Trump picks TV personality and former Senate candidate Mehmet Oz to run Medicare and Medicaid agency. Dr. Oz, says here, President-elect Donald Trump on Tuesday said that he will nominate Mehmet Oz, a former Pennsylvania Senate candidate and TV personality, to lead the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. It says here, quote, he is an eminent physician, heart surgeon, inventor, and world-class communicator who has been at the forefront of healthy living for decades, Trump said in a statement, adding that Oz would work alongside Robert F. Kennedy Jr., an anti-vaccine activist who Trump wants to head the Department of Health and Human Services. Oz, a cardiothoracic surgeon, praised Trump for picking Kennedy in a post on Instagram. Post last week saying the former independent presidential candidate will help our nation address the illness industrial complex that holds our health hostage. Like Kennedy, Oz, it says here, has faced criticism over the years for promoting misleading and false claims about health and science. I didn't know that Dr. Oz had been accused of spreading misleading and false claims. I had no idea. I don't really pay that much attention to Dr. Oz. So that's what this report says. I'm just reading what it says. In 2020, he came under scrutiny for promoting the anti-malaria drug, the hydroxy thing, to treat the you-know-what. I didn't want to say it on here, lest we get banned or something, just for reading another article. Interesting. So here it is. There's Dr. Oz. Again, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't, somehow it just doesn't feel serious or real to me when you have these celebrities filling these positions. Entertainment. Politics has become entertainment, so maybe it's only appropriate to have personalities and even actors filling these roles. Ronald Reagan was an actor. Justin Trudeau was a drama teacher. Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, and even Trump, a reality TV star.
He's a fighter. He's a survivor. President Trump, defiant, strong. He is determined to make America great again. Pay tribute to the 45th President of the United States with this collectible t-shirt from the Maverick News Memorable Moments collection. Even a would-be assassin's bullet could not stop him. Instead, he emerged with his fist in the air ready to fight. For freedom. Get your Trump Fighting for Freedom t-shirt with any donation of $30 or more to Maverick News. There are 2 iconic artistic designs to choose from. But there is only one way to get these. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Support free speech. Free media. Support Maverick News. Call 1-866-248-1490 or order online at supergeeks.tv.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
So Justin Trudeau, not in Parliament because he's at the G20, but things were entertaining, I will say, in the House of Commons in Canada today, in Ottawa. And why is that? Well, it is because of this new Trudeau Liberal government scandal that is brewing. We have calls mounting for Liberal Cabinet Minister Randy Boissonnault to resign over conflicting claims about his family's Indigenous heritage. So now we're learning, this is something that's been playing out over the last little while here now, and Edmonton police are now confirming that they are investigating an allegation of fraud made against Boissonnault's former company and business partner. Michael Weber, a Florida-based lawyer, is the legal counsel for a medical supply procurement company, 4M Medical, and he has submitted a police report on July 31st regarding 4M Medical's failed transaction with Global Health Imports. So, Edmonton Police Service have confirmed that this complaint has been accepted and that there is now an investigation into all of this, and it all centers around this Liberal cabinet minister, Randy Boissonnault. Just another scandal involving the Liberal government under Justin Trudeau. So Boissonnault has tried to distance himself from the embattled medical supply company. And the NDP has ramped up their attacks even on this member of parliament and member of Trudeau's close inner circle. A Métis member of parliament is calling on the employment minister, Boissonnault, to resign over what he is calling harmful false claims to Indigenous ancestry. So the allegation here is that Boissonnault has falsely claimed to be Indigenous in order to take advantage of, I think, government monies through programs for these companies improperly. So in 2018, at a Heritage Committee meeting, I guess Boissonnault referred to himself as non-status adopted Cree from Alberta. He went on to say that his grandmother was a full-blooded Cree woman. And we've touched on this issue pretty extensively here on Maverick News. This is a growing issue. People who are accused of being pretendians. What is Indigenous? What is First Nations? What is Native? What are these definitions? It all ties into concerns about the United Nations Declaration of Rights for Indigenous Peoples. And now all of these things kind of funneling in these issues in a way to affect this member of Trudeau's government, who is accused of essentially not just cultural appropriation, but just completely misrepresenting himself as Indigenous. So New Democrat MP Blake Desjardins has joined those calls for this Liberal cabinet minister to resign. And Desjardins is Métis. And he went on to say that this race shifting that's taking place is very concerning. And we have the latest exchange over this from the House of Commons today. It opens with Andrew Scheer of the Conservative Party of Canada during question period. And of course, it was first up. It was the first thing dealt with during question period. Here we go to Andrew Scheer, leading the charge on this.
The honourable member from Regina Capella. Day after day brings new sordid details about the employment minister's scandal. And yesterday we learned that his company shares a mailing address with an international drug trafficker who's been busted for cocaine not once, but twice. He's been caught out in falsehoods, caught faking Indigenous identity to try to secure government contracts meant for real Indigenous people, and his company is under investigation for 9 fraud-related counts. Why on earth has the Prime Minister not fired this man?
Right.
The Honourable Minister for Employment and Workforce Development.
Mr. Speaker, as I said yesterday, I don't know the person referred to in that article. I've never met that person. It's stated in the article, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
The Honourable Member from Regina Capel. Let's recap the scandal so far. He said he was Indigenous, even though he wasn't. He said his great-grandmother was Cree, even though she wasn't. He said there was another Randy working at the company, even though there wasn't. That he had nothing to do with the company while he was in cabinet, even though he was. And his company got a contract while he was sitting around the cabinet table. In a normal government, any one of those scandals would be cause for dismissal.
Yeah, that's right.
So why in this wacko Liberal government does this man still sit in cabinet?
There's that word wacko. What a circus.
I ask members to be very judicious in their use of words.
The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Minister has already answered this question many times. The question that we still haven't had an answer for is why the Conservative leader's scandal, who refuses to seek his security clearance and protect himself and his future members during the next election, What is he hiding when he refuses to get information about the risks of foreign interference for the upcoming elections? Thank you. I would ask the honourable member to not speak until the chair recognizes him.
Regina Capel. Well, we don't know what it'll take for this guy to get fired from this Prime Minister. We do know what will get you fired. Remember Jody Wilson-Raybould? Oh, yeah. She was fired for telling the truth about the Prime Minister's attempts to interfere in a criminal case. Here's what she had to say. A Prime Minister committed to true reconciliation would have removed this minister and the other Randy from cabinet long ago. Instead, we get to watch white people play Ancestry Wheel of Fortune. Ouch. How come under this Prime Minister, a strong Indigenous woman gets fired for telling the truth when a weak, fake Indigenous man gets to keep his job after lying?
Does Bosno look Indigenous?
Again, I'm going to ask the honourable member from Regina Capel, who once sat in this chair, to withdraw that one word which was directly used to another member, which would not be considered parliamentary. And ask the honourable member to do so.
I'll withdraw the word lying and replace it with telling falsehoods.
Yes.
The actual word. The word which was being used. I'm going to ask the honourable member to withdraw the word fake, please.
Sorry, just for the speaker to clarify, the word fake, but the minister did.
He faked all those things.
The minister is now admitting that he's not Indigenous, so he pretended to be something that he wasn't.
Colleagues. Colleagues, yesterday there were members who were asked to withdraw that very same word. And
yes.
The member did. And so I'm going to ask the honourable member if he could please do so.
I will withdraw the word fake and replace it with either sham, imitation, counterfeit.
The honourable member.
That's pretty good. Let's get out the old digital thesaurus.
Colleagues, I've always insisted, I'm going to ask all members please not to take the floor while the speaker is addressing Parliament. When it has been a tradition of this place to ask very tough questions, to keep government accountable. It's important for government, of course, to provide very clear answers. But we try...
That rarely happens.
We try to do this in a way that allows people to treat each other with decorum and respect. And so the honourable member has sat in this chair in this position once before. Yesterday we asked a number of members to, when it was referring to a particular member, to withdraw that same word that I'm just asking for today. I just asked the honourable member just to withdraw that word so we could just move on.
Mr. Speaker, when I sat in that chair, I heard the word fake being used many, many times.
I will come back to this issue later on.
Somebody wants to get ejected, I think.
Near the end of question period. With the Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, but I think that little display of disrespect for that place is ubiquitous of how Conservative members treat this place. And in fact, Mr. Speaker, they are trying to distract and make a mockery.
Colleagues. I'm going to ask the Honourable Member, the Honourable Members need I'm going to ask the Honourable Member from Lanark, Hastings, Addington to please. Sorry, forgive me. Lanark, Frontenac. Forgive me, the Honourable Member from Lanark, Frontenac and Kingston to please not take the floor when he is not recognized to do so.
Tough job being the Speaker. You have to just stay calm all the time, no matter what. Not get emotional. Oh, he turned the audio off again. He does that a lot. Yeah, he does that a lot, this Speaker. Calm down now, children. Jeez. Always misbehaving.
I do not know if the Honourable Minister had finished her answer because I was not able to hear her. So I'm going to ask the Honourable Minister.
She always speaks low.
I'm going to ask the Honourable Minister to start from the top.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think this shameful display of disrespect from the Conservative members of Parliament for this place is on display today, and it is exactly how they have been operating for the past couple of weeks. Mr. Speaker, it is time for them to stop filibustering and obstructing the work of Parliament. It is time for them to start respecting this place, respecting the work we do here on behalf of Canadians. We have deposited up to 29,000 pages worth of documents. They need to stop these games and let everybody get back to work on behalf of Canadians. Thank you.
I'm going to ask the Honourable Member from St. Margaret, South Shore, to please not take the floor. And to all colleagues, we are wasting a fair bit of time.
No kidding.
And to making sure that members get going, we might have to cut a couple of questions from today. So let us make sure that we follow up very carefully and we listen to the instructions. The
Honourable Member for Mégantic-l'Érable. What time is it for? It's time for the Minister to fire the Minister of Official Languages. He says he's an Indigenous person, even though he's not. He claims his great-grandmother is Cree, and that's false. He's not the Randy from the texts who runs GHI, but we now know that there's only one Randy in the company. Worse still, the company in which he's a shareholder received government contracts while he was in Cabinet. The Minister of Official Languages must do the only honourable thing, resign in shame. Will the Prime Minister fire his imposter of a minister? The Honourable Government House Leader. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Minister has answered this question. He has said what he said at committee, and this is absolutely false, what they're saying. The Conservatives need to stop these partisan and political games. They don't lead us anywhere. They need to respect this place and allow it to return to work and to make sure we can all do the work that Canadians have sent us here for. I would ask everyone once again to be very judicious in the choice of the words they use. The Honourable Member for Mégantic-l'Érable. Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Official Languages is not only an imposter, He's a chameleon. He will stop at nothing to advance his own interests. Suddenly, he's the journalist and political commentator at Radio Canada and Les Affaires, even though he's never written a single article. Then there's all the other Randys. The Indigenous Randy, the Randy who isn't him, the business partner Randy, the text message Randy. Sorry. I keep interrupting the member, but now he's skating on the other side of the line.
Why?
He's referring to the first name of a minister, and, well, regardless, he's made 5 references to this, and this is not okay, so I ask the honourable member to find
in this
another
case,
way of asking his question.
You need to reference the name in order
please.
to give it full context.
Mr. Speaker.
And meaning.
There's a quite simple way to end the use of the name Randy in this House, to use the name of the other Randy. It's if the Prime Minister would fire the Minister of Official Languages. When will the Prime Minister end this big masquerade and fire all the Randys? He could even hit a home run by just firing the Minister of Official Languages. Will the Prime Minister fire this imposter of a Minister of Official Languages? Truly, you have put me in a very uncomfortable situation.
Oh, my.
The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, this is unbelievable what the Conservative members are doing. Today they are showing they have no respect for this place, for democracy in Canada, or as what you're saying as Speaker of this House. There are Canadians who are watching this circus that they are doing on the other side, and the Conservative members are making a joke of this place. It is the seat of our democracy, and this is really shameful. Thank you.
Bonne réponse.
The Honourable Member for La Prairie. Radio Canada has obtained documents proving that the CRA has known for months that it is a veritable sieve when it comes to fraud. Since November 2023, it has known that fraudsters were receiving fake tax refunds. But instead of sounding the alarm, the CRA is covering it up. It hides from taxpayers the fact that over $100 million has been stolen from them this year. It hides from them the fact that 31,000 of them have had their personal information stolen. And instead of trying to fix this, it has decided to hunt down their employees to silence whistleblowers. Will the minister clean house as necessary? The Honourable Minister of National Revenue. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What my colleague is saying is false. We've hidden nothing. As soon as there is information that is learned about potential fraud, I can assure you that we take this situation very seriously, that the persons involved are immediately questioned, their accounts are blocked. We identify the fraudsters, and there are other consequences. And we report to the Treasury Board and to the Privacy Commissioners, among others. Thank you. The Honourable Member for La Prairie.
Okay.
Impressive. When it comes to crisis management, the CRA is an example not to be followed. Here's how they don't deal with fraud. 1, hide the crisis until it ends up in the newspaper. 2, hide the theft of personal information from the Privacy Commissioner. And 3, hunt whistleblowers instead of fraudsters. In short, CRA executives don't want to solve the problem. They just don't want to be blamed for it. Their top priority is to protect their own backs. Will the minister get her priorities straight?
We'll go through this answer. This is a pretty important
Minister
issue.
Of National Revenue. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm ready to do what we have to, and I'm already doing it because what my colleague is saying is false. It's completely untrue. We've hidden nothing. As soon as we see there's a potential fraud, we block accounts, we seek out the fraudsters, we make reports. Yes, we report according to the processes. We do it quarterly. We do it to the Treasury Board, to the AG, and to public accounts.
L'honorable député.
The honourable member for Rosemont La Petite Patrie. Mr. Speaker, the cost of living is up, rents are up, groceries are up.
Okay,
And the Liberals...
we'll pull out of that. We know inflation is out of control. I'll be right back.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarmingly, some media outlets simply aren't true without checking. Facts first. Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
In an ocean of lies a century deep, the truth. The weights.
Sorry, folks, we're getting a lot of freezing going on there, or so it appears, so I'm just going to stop that. And yeah, we've been having some technical issues here over the last couple of weeks, dealing honestly with some cyber attacks, so I do apologize for that. It's been kind of time-consuming, chewing up a lot of our resources, honestly. And I think we're seeing some of the impact from that even right now with this freezing. Just a reminder to please hit the thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. You can support the channel just by doing that. It doesn't cost you a penny. And if you are so inclined to support the program by donating, you can do that at freedomreporters.com. And if you do donate at freedomreporters.com, $10 or more, I'd be happy to send you the 10-song Free Dog album in its entirety. All songs patriotic and inspirational, positive, in nature, designed to inspire and uplift. All of the songs. And if you donate $30 or more, I'll be happy to send you a t-shirt, a Maverick News t-shirt. Even though we do have this ongoing Canada Post strike, I'll try to find a way to get it to you anyway. At the height of the Christmas shipping season, as that is upon us. And $45 or more, I have polo shirts with Maverick News, the Maverick News logo embroidered on them, and also hoodies. With a donation of $60 or more, I'd be happy to send you one of those as well. Just let me know what size you need. They're all in black, but just let me know what size, and I'd be happy to send that along to you. We also have the Maverick News button-up shirts as well. So those are available. So just let me know if you do donate. And thank you to all of you who have supported the channel in the past. And those of you who continue to support us as well. It's not people, you know, this is, what am I saying? This is a difficult thing because politics is controversial. It's divisive. Stories come, stories go, issues surface and wane, and sometimes people don't like what's being said at any given time, but one thing is for certain, the only thing that is constant is change. And the issues that are before us today will evolve into other issues tomorrow, and that is why politics makes for strange bedfellows too, doesn't it? It's because as one issue morphs into another and evolves into another, people find themselves on different sides of various issues throughout time. Which is why you should never deal in absolutes. There's no such thing as absolutism when it comes to politics or even reality. It's important to recognize that there are always shades of gray, and that is what we always try to do here, is pursue truth by recognizing, acknowledging that rarely are there just two sides to a story. Stories are usually much more complex than that, with multiple sides and many different perspectives. Now, as I say, I'd be happy to send along to anybody donating $10 or more the entire Free Dog album collection. And with that, I'm going to close things off here tonight, just a little earlier than usual again, mostly because we're having these technical issues, and I can see that we're having some issues with freezing and interruptions on some channels. So with that, I will wrap things up a little bit earlier than usual, and I will let Cosmo, my beloved hound, take us out, along with Maverick and the News Brothers. Here it is, my favorite song from the Free Dog album collection, the title track, Free Dog.
Step, he's leaving his bed. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Cosmos free, running wild, wild as a wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. So if you're feeling lost, just think of Cosmos Run. Remember his spirit, his freedom, his fun, and may maybe one day when you're feeling alone, you'll find your own freedom and let your spirit go. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Cosmos free, running wild, wild as a wind. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. He's got the stars in his eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard a bird, a heart full of love, and a spirit so free. He's living his life, wild and carefree. He's got the stars in his eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard a bird. Cosmos on a journey, he's got no shame. He's running through the fields, breaking all the lanes.
See you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. On the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.